Where we left off was the NWCA National Duels in the Dome in early January. Some big duel victories. Arizona State, number 16 Wisconsin, top 15 South Dakota State again went down to the wire. Talk about just how big those duels were as you're getting inching closer and closer to March in the Big 12s and the NCAAs.
Yeah, so I mean, Wisconsin's our last duel before you go into Big 12s, and I thought that was something that each guy up and down the lineup. I had a guy like Jack Thompson who stepped out there for his team and got a huge win. In a match that ended up being kind of the difference maker. Max Brady got bonus points, which ended up being the difference. Just things that you can build off of. More, I guess my concern, even South Dakota State, is it's every single guy, how they competed. And even if they lost in a way that kind of, I guess, inspired the guy behind them. And I thought we did those in those meets, and then you get ready for the Big 12s, which is not just one match, but you gotta, again, I think we do a really good job in duels sometimes, but when you get to 3 or 4 matches, sometimes the consistency isn't where it needs to be, because you have to bring it every single time, and we're trying to figure that out. Obviously at the Big 12s, that didn't happen to a man. I think about a guy like Ratchie, who had a huge win at Wisconsin, beat a top 10 guy, and then, heck, he makes the finals and is wrestling as well as anybody. Farber comes back and gets 3rd. Just those things are huge, and then, you qualify your spot at the national tournament. Certainly not the end of the season that we wanted, but I could say that about every single year. I mean, no matter what, that happens, but guys sticking together, staying through, and really trusting the process, even when you don't ultimately always get the results you want. Do you have the faith to continue to step back out there and come back? And our guys do that to a man.
Individual highlights from the NCAAs for you.
Round of 12, so that's the blood round. So I mean, if you win the match, you're an All-American. Those are, they're heartbreaking moments, as a coach, as a competitor, because on the one side, the guys jumping in the coach's arms, and the other side, you're consoling the guy. But really proud of, Farber, and he went into the Big 12s. I think he lost his last 3 matches. And then he gets 3rd in the Big 12s, and then, and again, I think that's going to end up being an all-time bracket. Ryder, and having a couple tech falls, getting himself into where, you're one position from, which being close it's painful. I don't know. I mean, I don't know any other way to state it. But I also know how these guys are going to respond and how they're going to move forward. And I already see how Farber's doing. I'm proud of that response, and proud of how our guys, when we have our social, and how they get up and talk, and how proud they are to be part of our team, and how grateful they are for the opportunities that they've got.
Brad Wells breaks down the highlights from the national championships.